I'm at the racetrack to do a job. I'm not at the racetrack to socialize. It's not a social event for me. I'm there to win. Angie Smith, Angie Smith. My role at the shop is, it's become a large role. We do a lot here. We have our own engine program here, and we build our own chassis in-house. We do everything in-house, and I think that's kind of important for our sport because you kind of want to keep all your technology for your own team. So we build all of our motors here. We do all of our research and development here, and we dyno here, and we do everything that needs to be done to make our motors fast at the racetrack. We do it all here. My role at the shop is a lot. I am the one that actually assembles my motors. I tear them down after every run. We look at all the parts and pieces and make sure there's no cracks in the pistons and make sure everything is up to par. And then once that happens, then I wash the parts in the parts washer and we'll reassemble the parts. So I have a pretty heavy role when it comes to being a part of MSR. Outside of racing, I wouldn't say that I'm a different person, but I kind of am. I am a very accommodating person. I try to go above and beyond to make everybody happy. I try to be there for anyone that needs me. I'm a very caring person. I wear my emotions on my sleeve sometimes. When I'm at the racetrack, I'm a kind of a different person. I do socialize and I have my people that I always socialize with. But if you didn't know me and you walked by me, I would probably smile, I would probably greet you, but as far as that would be the extent of it. When I'm in the staging lanes, I am very focused. I really don't have a lot of conversation with anybody. Matt will come up and say a few words to me. Other than that, I don't really say much to anyone. I think about what's getting ready to happen. Matt usually comes and gives me feedback about the track. So I think about the track, I think about making a straight run, I think about what's going to happen on the run. The only thing that I'm focused on at that point is getting the bike from A to B, shifting on time and making the bike go straight and making the very best run that I can make. A lot of people say that, well, you put your helmet on early and you do things early, and aren't you hot because you put your suit on early? And at that point, I'm not, because I put my suit on and I think it's a sense of comfort for me. It makes me more focused to put my suit and my helmet on because my whole crew know that when my jacket and my helmet and my gloves go on, then they know that it's business. Racing has taught me a lot about myself. I wouldn't say that I'm a selfish person. I think I used to be until I started racing, and the reason why I say this is I am part of a team now. It's not just all about me. It's about our team in general. And so you can't be a selfish person on a team. You have to be giving and caring, and you have to do what it takes. You have to work hard. There is no 9 to 5 when it comes to racing. You have to work really hard. You have to be passionate about it. And, you know, when it comes to racing, I think it's all rules are out the window. You have to love it. You have to eat, sleep, drink it. There's so many things that go into racing. It's undescribable to a point, and it's tough. There are times where I break down. There are times when I cry, and there are times when I'm the girl, and then there are times where I get mad. And then there's the happy times when you win rounds and you do good. And that makes it all satisfying, and that's the gratitude that you get from this. Over the years, we've been through several people, and we have an extraordinary group of people now that work together And it's amazing because we are with our racing, I call us a racing family. We're with our racing family more than we're with our real families. We're on the road from February to November. I would say if I had to estimate, probably 250 days a year with testing and everything. So we're with our racing family more than we are with our real family. And so it's very important to have personalities that gel together, and we have an extraordinary group of people with us right now. They're the love of my life. That's what I always say. 2 years ago, I had a Dachshund. His name was Samson, and he passed away. And he had been with me my whole racing career. And when he passed away, it was pretty emotional. It's probably still emotional right now for me. And he went to every race that I ever competed in, and not just pro stock, but in my younger years. And he was more popular at the racetrack than I was. Everybody come over and he would go to other people's trailers. It was hilarious, and he always knew where our trailer was, but he would go visit other people. He passed away. He had congenital heart failure, and he passed away in March, right after Gainesville. And I was devastated. I stayed in the bed for probably a week and a half. And, you know, I wasn't to a point where I didn't know if I needed another dog or not, because nobody could ever replace him. And Matt surprised me with Coco Chanel, and she was a blessing, and she was by my side the whole time. And we have another dog. Her name's Harley, and she's older. She's 11, so she's not very active, and she doesn't really want to play with a puppy. So we decided to get Mocha, the lover. She's my hippie chick. That's what I call her, because she loves everybody. And dogs really help. When you have a stressful life like racing, when you do bad, or when you don't make the run that you want to make, you know, you can go in the motorhome. They don't care. They give you love. They have unconditional love for you.
Good
And
girl.
I think that helps so much with racing and just
Are you
being
gonna
a
tell
girl
me?
and having that love.
You gonna tell me?
Those dogs always
better
show
tell
me
me.
the love that I need. Sometimes I just need a hug,
No. Tell
and
me.
they're always there,
Tell me.
and they're amazing.
Ready?
And I wouldn't trade them for the world,
Ready?
and I don't even know that I could go to a race without them. It's very hard at times to be a woman in this sport. I think this is a sport where I had to earn my respect. When I started racing in HRA in 2008, people didn't really know how to take me, and I was Matt's girlfriend. That's what I was. I was Matt's girlfriend that raced, or trying to race. So, you know, and Angie was out there, and she is a very strong competitor, and she had won 3 championships. So I had big shoes to fill. Matt had won a championship, and so I had to do a good job. And it was tough. I had my trying years, and you know, there were times where people said, "Oh, you need to go back to the kitchen," or they made derogatory comments to me. And I probably said my piece back. And I think you have to be a very strong woman to race in this industry. You have to be strong, and you better be thick-skinned to race in HRA. And the best advice I ever got from anyone is from my father-in-law, Ricky Smith. And he said, if you can't take losing 80% of the time, then this is not the sport for you. And he's exactly right. It's very tough. You lose way more than you win, but when you do win, it's very satisfying, and it's usually the happiest day of your life, and you feel like you're on top of the world. It was very emotional, and it kind of still is. We work really hard. Sometimes it's just me and Matt. And is very happy to get to do something like that. When I made the top 10 and got to put my name on the board at Indy, we accomplished a big goal. It's really tough out there. We have a lot of motorcycles out there, and Pro Stock Motorcycle is more competitive than it ever has been. And when I got to put my name on that board, it's very satisfying. I don't know per se if they are superheroes, but I do have a lot of people that I look up to. I really look up to other racers that race in other categories, like Erica Enders and Alexis DeJoria. And even in my category, Karen Stouffer and Angie. You know, those ladies have been racing longer than I have. Shirley Muldowney, you know, one of the greatest of all time in NHRA. All of those ladies are role models to me, whether they think so or not. I do call them friends, but they are role models to me. You know, they have paved the way for everyone else, and I hope I'm one of the role models that is paving the way for somebody else that's coming in. I got started in racing as a kid. We would go to a local track, but it wasn't drag racing, it was circle track. And as I call it, the roundy round track. And it's just your local Saturday night, bring your car and race against all your buddies. And usually there was fights that broke out, and it's just, they call it the Madhouse, and that's truly what it is, the Madhouse. And they did a TV show on it a couple years back, and it's just very popular around here. It's in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And you know, it did pave the way for some of the NASCAR stars back then. And so every Saturday night we would go watch roundy round racing. And I really wanted to go and get a car and drive out there. And my dad was like, absolutely not. He said either I would be in jail or he would be in jail if I would go do that. So I never got the opportunity to do that. So, you know, a lot of my high school friends, they went to the drag strip. And so I was like, I thought it was a great idea. So I went to the drag strip with them, and they had bikes, and, you know, I got to ride one of their bikes. And after that, I was hooked. And my parents said, absolutely not. You are not getting a motorcycle, and you are not racing. And then when I turned 19, I guess they really didn't have a say-so. So I bought my own bike against their will, but they had no idea. So after I bought the bike, I told them about it. And now I would say my parents are my biggest fans. I do have a street bike. It's a Victory Octane. Victory gave it to us when we were sponsored by Victory, and I actually love that motorcycle. I don't ride it a lot. I think I've rode it about 4 times this year. We'll ride it locally, like 30 or 40 miles, but to take it on the long haul to Sturgis, absolutely not. I think my getaway hobby that I love more than anything is snowboarding. And I think it's because I don't need anybody else to help me. If you go wakeboarding, you need somebody to drive the boat and things like that. So when we go snowboarding, I put my board on, and I'll meet you at the other end. And it's, you know, it's kind of, I get away. You know, it's my getaway. I try to go once a year, and, you know, Matt's good, and I've gotten a lot better over the years. My brother-in-law showed me more of the fundamentals of snowboarding because he's really good, and it's really helped me. And, you know, I really enjoy going now. And Matt thinks we're getting too old to go, but I don't. Now I think we're kind of equal, and he's gonna say he's better because he always says he's better at everything than me because he's so competitive. But I think I'm pretty equal with him.
You could have said better.
I know. I'm better than Matt. I'm better than Matt, and he'll be all right. I think my favorite opponent to race against is probably one of the Harley bikes. because when you beat them, it's very satisfying, and I'm going to celebrate. And I know sometimes, they say you need to have sportsman-like attitude, and I do, and I'm fans of theirs, they're fans of mine, and we all get along, and we're all friends. But when you're in the other lane beside them, you want to kick their butt. A lot of people, say my friends, they think that, they know that I'm on TV and they think it's awesome, and they're like, yeah, she's on TV, she races. And, some of them don't ever come to the track with me. And I think it's kind of a misconception of what they think that I really do. I think they think that I sit around and eat ice cream with my feet up. That's what I've always said. And that's not true. From the time I get up in the morning till the time I go to sleep, I have a lot of things that I have to do. I'm I would say, the manager of the team, and I kind of get the guys going in the morning. I do all the sheets. We do a lot of data keeping with sheets and race pack. I do the fuel injection. I load all the fuel injection maps. I play a big part of changing motors, and if a bike goes out and doesn't shift, we have to change valve springs, pull the transmission, and I jump in and do it. I might get my nails done on Monday before the race, but they probably won't look good on Saturday of the race. They'll probably be dirty. My hands are usually dirty, and I do what it takes to get our bikes from A to B. I do all the DENSO spark plugs in our camp, and in our camp, that is probably one of the most important jobs. And it's not that he doesn't trust other people to do it. He just wants the same person doing it the same time, the same way. And you have to be very consistent, and you have to do it the same way every time. And so I got elected to do all the spark plugs. What happens is we all have trays with all the riders' names on them and the motors. And we index them, and we get our DENSOs out of the box, and I do all the indexing, and I gap them, and I put them in the trays. And then all the guys are standing in line waiting on their DENSO spark plugs, because we change plugs every other run. And I will say this, our DENSO spark plugs are amazing. We have had trouble in the past with plugs letting go. DENSO spark plugs have been the most reliable plug that we have ever used in our racing program, hands down. We have not had one failure in DENSO spark plugs, and that speaks volumes, especially with our racing program. Matt is tough. He is very tough to work with. It's his way or the highway. He strives for perfection. He expects perfection out of me. And he is not my husband. He is my boss. He is my teacher, professor, whatever you want to call it. But he expects the absolute best out of me. And he knows that I'm going to give him the absolute best. There are times where, if I don't make a good run, he, might get upset with me and be harsh. And I think it's because we work together, sleep together, we do all of this together. I have learned to take things with a grain of salt. There are things that I know to take seriously, and then there are things that I let go in one ear and out the other. So he is hard, but I know it's only for my best interest. If I had the opportunity to go back and be the girl that sits in the chair and waits on her motorcycle to be done, I wouldn't do it. I wish he would have got me to learn all this a lot sooner, because every year I think I'm a better rider, and it makes me smarter. And it's so valuable to give him feedback as a crew chief, and it saves us time. And you know, every day he kind of says, you know, another thing, hey, I want you to learn this. And sometimes I tell him my resume is full, but at the end of the day, I want to learn as much as I can. You can never have too much knowledge. I'm very superstitious when it comes to racing. I think that comes from my grandmother. She was the superstitious person that if you go in one door, you have to go back out that door. You don't walk under ladders and things like that. And she rubbed off on me. And if you see me dress, which you won't, but when I dress, I always put my right shoe on before my left shoe. I always put my right glove on before my left. I always pray before I run. I do the same thing. And it's more of a routine, but I am superstitious about it. I am very hard on myself. When I don't do well, I don't just let down myself. I'm letting down my team. And that's the hardest thing, because their blood, sweat, and tears in this is just as much as I am. And I don't want to let them down. I don't want to let myself down. We want to win. We want to win together. But this is drag racing. You're going to lose. But when I go out and make a mistake, I'm very hard on myself. And I tell them, I will fix my mistakes. I will fix it. And they know that I will. It's, you get mad. You know, I smack my hand on my tank and, you know, you're mad. You don't want to talk to anybody because you wish you could go and do it over again. And Jerry Savoy come by on the last race when I red lit first round. He drove by me. Scott was pushing me back, and I told Scott I was sorry, and I was just mad at myself. And he come by, and Jeremy was pushing him on the pit bike, and he tooted the horn at me, and he went like this. And I knew what that meant. Chin up. Don't let it bother you. There's always another race, but you want to do so good because this is all that matters to us. But you have those bad days, and it takes a good 24 hours to put it behind you, but you put it behind you and you do better, and we will be better. So I just had blonde hair like everybody else, and I kind of wanted to be different. So I did put pink in my hair a couple years back for the month of October for breast cancer awareness. And I got the most compliments out of my hair. They was like, I love your hair. Everybody complimented me. So it kind of stuck. So we left it in, and it's been in for a couple years now, and everybody says, I love your hair. All the guys pick on me because they go, I love your hair, because when I'm walking through the airport or I'm out in public, that's probably one of the most talked about things is everybody thinks my hair is awesome because it's different. And so they pick on me about it, but I like it. I just want to be different. And I did do it for breast cancer awareness, and I think that's a huge thing. So we'll go with that. So I'm Irish. McBride, my maiden name is McBride, and I'm Irish. And so every now and then I'll just go out in the yard and look at things, and I found a 4-leaf clover. And I thought it was destined, so it needed to be on my motorcycle because 4-leaf clovers are lucky. They say 5-leaf clovers are very lucky. I have not found a 5-leaf clover yet, but I think it goes hand in hand with my Irishness, and maybe my temper goes with my Irish too. Angie is different from a few years back. I think the lack of knowledge that I had a few years back of the motorcycles, I think that was part of it. And now I am more educated of what's going on. You know, this is our way of life. This is our living. This is how we put food on the table. This is how, you know, we get to do what we love to do as a job. And it's very satisfying to see other people do it with our horsepower. And so I think it's important for me to go and make sure that the people that are running our horsepower and the people that we are helping, if they're good, and you know, they have crew guys too, but I think it's important for me or Matt to go over and say, you know, are you good? Do you need help? Matt is he's so busy at the races, doing from fuel injection maps to doing all the other stuff that he has to do, that I think it's important for me to go and check on the other people, because maybe I can throw a helping hand in and help. You know, even if Matt can't go over, I can help. The folks at DENSO are an amazing group of folks. They have went out on a limb and took a chance and sponsored me as a rider, and it has turned out to be an amazing partnership between the two of us. They have amazing products. DENSO spark plugs that we use in our motorcycle are very reliable. They have never once failed us, and that speaks volumes about their product. And they took a chance on a girl that races a motorcycle that wants to live her dream. And we have a great partnership, and I just want to say thank you to DENSO, because they have helped us so much.
Matt, we missing anything? Angie, we missing anything?
I think we're good. Are we good?
Yeah. You good? Yeah.
You good?